Om Namo Narayana, Jai Swami Narayan. Welcome back as we work our way through Swami Vivekananda's lecture on the first step towards jhana. The question is, what do we mean by the word transmission? It is a big word, but like so many other impossible and nonsensical terms of the same kind, it has come into use without people understanding it. If I were to ask you what transmission is, you would find that you have no real conception of its meaning because there is no real idea attached to it. Let us look a little closer into the matter. Say, for an instance, here is a father. A child is born to him. We see that the same qualities which the father possesses have entered into this child. Okay, very good. Now, how did the qualities of the father come to be in the child? Nobody knows. So this gap the modern physicists want to fill with the big word transmission. And what does this transmission mean? Well, nobody knows. How can mental qualities of experience be condensed and made to live in one single cell of protoplasm? There is no difference between the protoplasm of a bird and that of a human brain. All we can say with regard to physical transmission is that it consists of the 2 or 3 protoplasmic cells cut from the father's body. That is all. But what nonsense to assume that ages and ages of past human experience got compressed into a few protoplasmic cells. It is too tremendous a pill they ask you to swallow with this little word, transmission. In olden times, the churches had prestige, but today science has got it. And just as in olden times, people never inquired for themselves, never studied the Bible, and so the priests had a very good opportunity to teach whatever they liked. So even now, the majority of people do not study for themselves, and at the same time have a tremendous awe and fear before anything called scientific. You ought to remember that there is a worse popery coming than ever existed in the church, the so-called scientific popery, which has become so successful that it dictates to us with more authority than religious popery. These popes of modern science are great popes indeed, but sometimes they ask us to believe more wonderful things than any priest or religion ever did. And one of those wonderful things is that transmission theory, by which I could never understand. If I ask, what do you mean by transmission? They only make it a little easier by saying, it is hereditary transmission. And if I tell them, that is rather Greek to me, they make it still easier by saying, it is the adherence of paternal qualities in the protoplasmic cells. In that way it becomes easier and easier until my mind becomes muddled and disgusted with the whole thing. Now, one thing we see. We produce thought. I am talking to you this evening, and it is producing thought in your brain. By this act of transmission, we understand that my thoughts are being transmitted into your brain, your mind, and producing other thoughts. That's an everyday fact. It is always rational to take the side of things which you can understand, to take the side of fact. Transmission of thought is perfectly understandable. Therefore, we are able to take up the concept of transmission of thought and not of hereditary impressions of protoplasmic cells alone. We need not brush aside the theory, but the main stress must be laid upon the transmission of thought. Now, a father does not transmit thought. It is thought alone that transmits thought. The child that is born existed previously as thought. We all existed eternally as thought and will go on existing as thought. What we think, that our body becomes. Everything is manufactured by thought, and thus we are the manufacturers of our own lives. We alone are responsible for whatever we do. It is foolish to cry out, "Why, I am unhappy," because I made my own unhappiness. It is not the fault of the Lord at all. Someone takes advantage of the light of the sun to break into your house and rob you. And then when he is caught by the policeman, he may cry, "Oh, sun, why did you make me steal?" It was not the sun's fault at all, because there are thousands of other people who did much good to their fellow beings under the light of the same sun. The sun did not tell the man to go about stealing and robbing. Each one of us reaps what we ourselves have sown. These miseries under which we suffer, these bondages under which we struggle, have been caused by ourselves, and none else in the universe is to blame. God is the least to blame for it. Some may ask, why did God create this evil world? He did not create this evil world at all. We have made it evil, and we have to make it good. Why did God make me so miserable, you may ask? He did not. He gave me the same powers as he did to every being. I brought myself to this pass. Is God to blame for what I myself have done? His mercy is always the same. His sun shines on the wicked and the good alike. His air, his water, his earth give the same chances to the wicked and the good. God is always the same eternal, merciful Father. The only thing for us to do is to bear the results of our own acts. We learn that in the first place we have been existing eternally. In the second place, that we are the makers of our own lives. There is no such thing as fate. Our lives are the result of our previous actions, our karma, and it naturally follows that having been ourselves the makers of our karma, we must also be able to unmake it. The whole gist of Jnana Yoga is to show humanity the method of undoing this karma. And I will pause there. Oh, so many things here I could talk about and go on, and you probably could too if given the opportunity. First one, the potpourri of science. His terminology might be old, but as you were watching this video, can you name a time when maybe science has asked you to believe something and it dictates that with more authority than religious poetry, and asks you to believe something that seems crazy? I think we have hit that and jumped that shark. And then this other one of, why am I unhappy? Well, because you did it, buddy. God didn't do it. You did it. I love it. God gave you and everybody else the same opportunity, the same things, the same sun. You did it. That's common sense. This isn't anything totally spiritual. This is just a man speaking of human nature. The irony is that a lot of people probably don't know this. Why is my life, and why is this, and why is that? Well, I think it's you. I think it's you. God didn't do that. God does do some bad things. That is a fact. God is not totally perfect and amazing, and God does things that are very mysterious, and God does things which seem to be very unamazing, and God does things which seem to be very evil and dark and horrible. God, I believe, is the cause of this world, and is involved in the world, and meditates on the world, and is in all of our lives, whether we recognize God or not. Either God is connected to us, as I feel, or God is just sitting back going, okay, I know you want to ignore me for another couple years. So it's not completely cut and dry in my view of what Swami Vivekananda says, that all the bad things are created, by us, but there are a lot that are. There are a lot of things that we can't blame God for. Anyways, there's a lot of other good stuff here, but we're going to keep the video a little shorter today, and we'll pick up this essay, and at least, it's going to be a few more videos. This is a really long, but a very interesting essay, and I hope you're enjoying these talks that I'm sharing from Swami Vivekananda, and until next time, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Swami Narayan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.